Hello and welcome to the Official Watchers YouTube channel. Here at Jardin du Mayfair, heaven on earth for the watch enthusiast, this week I will be bringing you a Rolex Sea-Dweller 126600, which I think is incredibly good bang for buck. Let's get into the review and see if I'm right. Guys, just a very quick one to note before we start the review. My tech team informed me that up to 70% of you aren't subscribed. Please do hit that subscribe button and I'll keep these videos coming fresh and hot every week. The Sea-Dweller was released in 1967 in response to a very specific problem: helium. Launched in 1953, the Submariner at this point was already well into its existence and proving to be popular as a tool. But as the 60s were an era where exploration of both the skies and seas really started to boom, it was also where the venerable sub ran into difficulties when faced with saturation diving. So-called saturation diving because at great depths the body becomes saturated with gas, which needs to be dissipated slowly in a controlled manner in order to prevent a phenomenon known as decompression sickness. This was where decompression chambers became necessary for divers' safe transition from body-crushing depths and dry land. They would sit in a controlled decompression chamber post-deep dives until their bodies returned to normal. Bob Barth was one such diver on board the US Navy Sea Lab 1, which in short was a lab research station that was parked on the seabed and used to test human response to artificial atmosphere. As their bodies became saturated with this gas, they could stay at depth indefinitely and live within the research station, completing daily tasks, experiments, eating, drinking, sleeping, etc. Barth noticed during decompression an alarming ping and plink, which was the sound of the crystal popping off his Submariner due to the expulsion of helium which had built up within the watch while Bob was working in Sea Lab. This is a costly mistake, and his time in decompression wasn't long enough for helium particles to dissipate properly, which left the pressure inside the watch way higher than that of the decompression chamber. The end result of this was that his Submariner gave up at its weakest point, the crystal, which popped off in quite the dramatic fashion. Think of a champagne cork and a shaken bottle, and you get the picture without the science. Barth wrote an analysis of what had happened and suggested a helium valve. This analysis, which was heavy on the technicalities, was condensed by his diving pal, T. Walker Lloyd, who sent to Rolex to wrap their heads around solution-wise. The divers' current DIY solution was to unscrew the crowns of their Submariners during decompression to let the gas escape. But this wasn't ideal or long-term, as forgetting to unscrew or rescrew presented issues that can briefly be described as a pain in the backside. In response, Rolex designed the helium release valve, a relatively simple spring-loaded one-way valve which activated to release the helium when the pressure within the watch became greater than the pressure outside. Boom, done. Rolex had solved it, and a beast was born. 50 years later, Rolex released the reference 126600 to collaborate the 50th anniversary of the Sea-Dweller, and it caused quite a stir. It was no longer a 40mm watch. Its size had increased to 43mm. It had a single line of red text in homage to the early dwellers, and in a first for the Sea-Dweller range, it had a cyclops. Reactions to its addition were mixed, as we are not accustomed to such radical change from the brand. But in fairness to Rolex, while a few collectors have taken against the latest Sea-Dweller cyclops because they are very traditional and on a large watch feel that an unmagnified date would look out of proportion and a little lost, I am firmly in the pro Cyclops camp on this one. Not to mention that a little magnification goes a long way, especially if you don't have 20/20 vision. Now, I've just taken one of these watches on holiday as my one watch solution, and it has been not only great fun to get to know the watch, but fitted in superbly with anything and everything I got up to in the water. No surprises there, but I have to say it's an extremely formidable watch for the money. The prices have come back down to list price, which I just think it's a very good watch for the money, very capable. The SD, or SD43 as some have nicknamed it, does wear closer to a 42mm. I find it really well balanced on the wrist. Despite being 15.5mm tall, this is thanks to its 21mm lug width and wider bracelet. The wider bracelet, guys, is the absolute key because it tackles the additional 3mm of the head admirably. And thanks to the ever beautiful glidelock feature on the clasp, its bracelet size can be adjusted on the move as your wrist swells and contracts with different temperatures of the day. The case and bracelet are made from 904L surgical steel, which is known for its resistance to corrosion. It's definitely a chunky watch. It's not a shy piece, but nowhere near that of its bigger brother, the Deepsea, which even I don't feel I could pull off. If I had to compare it, I'd say that it wears smaller than an AP Offshore and a little larger than a Sea-Dweller, but not by a huge amount. Those who follow the channel will know that this kind of size is right up my street. The dial is a lovely touch as it is a matte black, which in certain lights can appear to be a dark chocolate, an almost tropical tone. I suspect this may be something to do with the red text working with matte black. I'm very happy that it's not a gloss dial, but whatever it is, it works really well and provides excellent legibility when combined with the lashings of blue chromolite on the maxi hands and markers. These things were designed to be read at depth, and although I haven't been to the bottom of any trenches while on my holidays, I could read it instantly when scuba diving, which was a great way to mix work and play. After all, the Sea-Dweller is a true tool watch, which was built for the ocean, and it seemed rude not to take it there. The Sea-Dweller runs on the caliber 3235, the same as the Submariners, so it offers a power reserve of 70 hours and an accuracy of +2-2 after casing. Being a Rolex, it ticks all of Wilsdorf's 3 boxes for the brand: automatic winding, accuracy and water resistance, which naturally the Sea-Dweller has in spades, with a mighty 1,220 meters. Now, when I was flying on my holiday, I had a quick look at the dial and I realized that we were flying at 39,000 feet. Now, as high as I was in the air, this watch could go down below the sea level, and that absolutely blew my mind. What a capable beast this is. Now, this isn't going to get you to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, but you can go anywhere between the kitchen sink and the tip of the ocean's midnight zone, and this watch will cause no problems. So I think that's quite enough for us mere mortals. The SD43 is an absolute sleeper hit in my opinion. Not enough people talk about this watch and its value. It's exceptionally capable, which I've said many times. The matte dial with the red text is an absolute smasher. That said, its size doesn't work for everyone, which is a negative if you love the look but have smaller wrists. But the plus side to that is that because it has a more niche appeal, it isn't hugely inflated on the secondary market, which is a winner if you have a taste for bigger watches. In a nutshell, I would 10 out of 10 recommend this piece if you've got the wrists to pull it off. Okay guys, so the meat and potatoes on this piece. This is a 2024 unworn, priced at £11,500, but I can also do a 2022 that's much closer to retail and it's absolutely mint. So get in touch with me. My WhatsApp number is in the description, and thank you so much for joining me here at Jardin du Mayfair, heaven on earth for the watch enthusiast. Guys, don't forget, please do like, comment and subscribe for more videos like this coming at you fresh and hot every single week.